Now to cover the outside of my mini album, I'm using this striped paper. It has stripe, blue, white, and a little bit of brown. And I like the brown because it brings out the brown in the background here. So I'm going to use this on the outside. I've already adhered my tape to the edges. I used my score tape on the edges, and then just a couple, like an X here, of my tape gun and 1/2 inch just across the middle, just to make sure that stays down. Now I'm going to, got this one laying down. Whew, that's got tape on it also. Oh boy, I have this laying flat. I'm going to pull up my tape backing now. I'm using 1/2 inch tape around the edges. And I'm going to run the stripe up and down the album. And I made it where it's about just under, or just over an 1/8 inch probably, going around the edges. And I got that a little bit crooked, but there is no coming up of that. Hopefully that's the back. Guess I can decide if that's the back. But there, again, I want to burnish that down. And there is the cover. And then I'm going to attach this one. That is the front. Now I'm going to put something here that folds across the spine. So that's for the outside. Now on the inside I need to do the same thing, is put some cover pieces down. And I think I'm going to use, I have this color, this blue here, and that's how it would go down. If I use that one, what I'm trying to do is decide between that or this one. And if you'll see the texture, it has the diamond, kind of like an argyle pattern. I kind of like this one better than this one. So I'm trying to decide if I'm going to use this on the inside. And I think I'm going to go with this one. I just kind of like that paper better. So that's going to be my inside, and I'll be right back. Now for the inside of the album, I decided to go with this paper. I got to make sure I have the right way. It has a little diamonds. I think that's really cute. I'm going to put it on the inside, and let me get the tape removed. Alrighty. So I want my diamonds going up and down, and I want to make sure that my hinge is covered up here. So I'm going with like right there. I want to make sure on the top it's going to, alrighty. Burnish that down really good. I'm going all around. So that's the front. I don't know yet which is the front, but I think, yeah, this is the front. This will be the back. Remove this tape. And get this down. Again, making sure my hinges are, I'm just meeting where the top part of that hinge is showing, so that that is meeting up and covering that. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Oh boy. I need to stand up so I can see going down that I have this right. Okay. And burnish that down real good. And that will be the inside. Now I'm going to make the pages, of course, are going to be out of the craft paper, and I will be covering it mostly with blues, and I will probably put blues, brown, and green. I'm going to have a little green in there as well because of the paper. So far I have my covers on. I still need to deal with the wrapping around the back here, but my hinges are in, and again I continue to just kind of work with these hinges because I want to make sure the pages are not stiff at all. So next will be the pages, and I'll probably put pockets on the covers and then make my pages. I'm going to make the pages where I can put slide little photo mats in there. I decided to change the cover. I'm using the same paper stack that I used on a Baby Boy mini album for one of my other nieces, who is this niece's sister. They're sisters. And even though I'm using the same stack, I think there's enough variety in the, designs to give it a unique look. But what I did forget was on the cover, I did use this striped paper on the last mini album. So I decided to cover that with this instead. And it's like a dot, polka dot. And I think that will take care of that. So I'm going to recover it. I put my sticky tape on the back already, and I'm going to recover that. Then the other thing, I had searched and searched and searched. I wanted some of the paper that looks like suede, and I couldn't find any anywhere. But what I did have in my stash is this is some of Tim Holtz grunge paper, and it is relatively thin. It's very flexible, and it's not going to tear or bend or crack. It is very, very flexible, and I like that. And it does have kind of a suede-ish kind of texture to it. And then I am going to ink it with some of the Tim Holtz Distressed ink. Now, I'm not sure yet if I'm going to use the, this one is Vintage Photo. This one is Walnut Stain. So I'm going to try these on another piece of this paper before I put it on here, just to see which one I'd rather use. I want it to come out with a course of a brownish without it being too dark. So if these come out too dark, I'm going to use another ink that's a little bit lighter. Oops. Looking for my pokey tool. This has worked the easiest for me, getting this, removing the cover on this tape. And so I was looking for that. So I'm going to take my tape off, the cover off my tape here, and get these mounted down on the cover of the album. So I'll be right back. Okay, so I got my new covers on, and I got this one a little close to the edge, but I am going to be putting this over that, so I think it's going to go ahead and hide enough of that to not matter. And the other thing is, now I'm testing my inking. I put a little bit of Vintage Photo, and I forgot I wasn't recording. I put a little bit of Vintage Photo on the end here, and I do kind of like how that looks against the blue. But it might be a little too dark, so I'm going to try. This is Walnut Stain. I think it's actually darker, but I'm going to try a little of that. Oh yeah, I don't want that because that's almost black. That gives almost a black color, so I don't want that. The Vintage Photo, though, looks pretty good. I'm going to try a couple other colors. This color here is Baked Brown Sugar. This is a Stampin' Up! Ink, of course. I'm going to try that on this end. Baked Brown Sugar. Let's see how that goes on. That is the Baked Brown Sugar. Get a little more. I want to make sure I cover up all the gray. That is the Baked Brown Sugar. That color. And that's how it looks against the blue. I think that's too dark. I kind of like this really brown color. So far, the Vintage Photo is the best. Let me try one more. This one is called Soft Suede. On the front, it looks pretty dark. I'm going to give it a shot, though, and see what happens. Again, that is Stampin' Up! Soft Suede. Put that in there, yeah. And it's almost the same color as the Walnut Stain. So I don't like those two especially, and I don't like this one. So the Vintage Photo wins. That's the color I'm going to ink this to Vintage Photo. And this is the piece I'm using. So I'm going to ink that up. And I think I'm going to get a new sponge. No, this is the one I had. The Vintage Photo is a nice brown color. And I'm going to have to go over it quite a bit. In fact, I might have to get my re-inker out to make sure this is nice and juicy. But that brown is pretty nice. So I'm going to go over it once. Cover it all once, and then I'll go over it again to make sure I have a good solid color down. So I'll be back to show you how this turns out. Okay, so the Vintage Photo won out, and it looks almost like suede. I'm telling you, that came out pretty good. And it's going to go on the album spine in the back. Now, I've always heard that hairspray helps to seal stuff, you know, like glitter and stuff that's on, you know, paper. So I sprayed that on here, and it got it a little bit blotchy, so I had to go over that again. But this is really what I was looking for. That is what I was looking for as far as effect. So I'm going to get my tape on this and get this fastened down so that I'll be done with the outside cover for now until I decorate it. And I'll be right back. I'm just going to add my tape to this side and then get ready to put it on the cover. Alrighty, I'm back, guys, for the spine cover, and came out really nice as far as the coloring. The more it dries, the more it looks like suede. It is really, really pretty. I covered the inside with my tape, and so now I want to put it on the spine. And what I'm gonna do is kind of eyeball it, because I want to get it in the middle first and then curve it around the sides. So I want the middle down, and then I want it to curve around the sides. Just so I have it on there so it will bend correctly. So I think I was off frame there for a little bit, but I have it there. So it is just a little bit. I might actually have to trim this bottom side and trim a little bit on top. I'm going to see what I can do there, but I want to make sure it's down in the center real good. And I think I'm just going to leave that. I just want to make sure it closes right, that it can close without a problem. I think that's a pretty color on there. So I'm going to take now and burnish this. I'm just using my hand to be able to burnish that down. Make sure that that's down really good on all sides. I'm going to make sure that that gets in that crease there, and in the crease on this side. That looks pretty good. Pretty good. The only problem is I have a little bit showing on the top and not the bottom. And I don't know. I think at this point I can determine still which is the top and which is the bottom, and I think I'm going to make this the bottom just because that little bit is showing there.